Okay. Hey, good evening, everybody. Jane is here, DM is here, Joker is here. Good to see you, man. Admin, you put the notification on. Nice. So, yeah, earlier in Discord, I just shared a little trade I took. So basically, I took profit here, going live, so I'm not gonna manage that. I will see. I think we might continue to go higher, but first I think we're gonna be good to maybe take a step back the higher time frame, right? At the moment, we are trading above the 200 weekly moving average. So we'll see how we can close the week, because we're still far away from the close, of course. But obviously, if we manage to close above, that's going to be a rather sign of strength for potential continuation. On the shorter term time frame, well, we did close yesterday above the 200 daily, which is decently good if you ask me, because, well, obviously we closed significantly above our open, as one can guess. But after the, fake news drama, we kind of retraced a lot of the pump. In fact, we retraced almost all of the big 1 hour squeeze. We managed to close still above daily level, above the 200 moving average, above, well, still above, right? We didn't close above the high of the previous daily high here, but nonetheless, we didn't crash down back below these key levels, right? So quite volatile yesterday, but yeah, we managed to. I want to stay still neutral, right? And I think there's still very good argument for bears and for bulls as well. From my point of view, in terms of RSI, we have the right trend line here. So we closed above, but we did the other time as well. So for now, we're still at the just dotted line here. So, kind of where we could be in a bull trap still, but also showing strength here. We have volume, of course. So that's also a good sign. 4 hour, of course, I didn't. Current interval only. You know, 4 hour, we are into overbought. So that's where we can, of course, reject. Everyone can guess that either we're gonna continue into new highs or we reject back down at this point. We still are at I don't have the indicator here, but somebody shared the chart earlier. We also have very, very low volatility still on the high time frame. Let me find the chart from Shiva. What's the year? The BB band, basically. Come on. Here we go. We're really tight here. Almost a all-time low, I think. So we can expect expansion. And that is a weekly chart. But yeah. At this point, after we squeeze that much short, or even liquidated that much short, well, either that was a high, maybe we sweep it for a bit, but either we retrace from here, well, either we continue into strength, I think. for how I traded this, well, you remember last Friday I say, yeah, I was kind of still feeling rather bearish, the breakdown. That said, well, I hit 2 main take profit from the short from the week prior here. It was the second one on the sweep here. I say, yeah, as what I want to see to flip the bias is basically a close above the daily order block here, which we got, and just after that we just like had also the 4-hour order block for lower time frame. Well, the same, we made a close above and just fly. So I did flip a bit more long at that point. I attempted a short here, and that's pretty much it. No, there's one long that I caught extra long into strengths here. I think it's worth to explain because that was kind of really a simple Elliott Wave approach into a low time frame, and that still lead to a really good positioning. I was really quite unsure on the higher time frame count. I gave a few ID, but I was really focused on this. We had already quite the strong pump at the beginning of the day, and we were into the retrace here, right? So I say, okay, if this has to be corrective, well, I'm gonna look at what kind of corrective it can be. So I see contraction, I see a triangle here, pretty obvious one. Yeah, here. So you have your A, B, C, D, E here. I need to get out some magnet, which is a running triangle where the wave B go below the origin of wave A here. It's still valid, and basically we have an A, B, C here, taking the here's the low of the pump here. Maybe I took that one. Doesn't matter too much. Yeah, I did the count already, but the idea was 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2 here. So here you go. Okay, the idea was that we had a really big impulse here. So we know this is a third wave for sure. We have one impulse here and retrace, so I took my retracement tool from low to high here of the proposed third wave. The idea was 1, 2, 3. If this has to continue, well, we are in a wave 4, so I'm looking at a retracement around 236, 382, potentially down to 50%. But when you are in such a context here, music is maybe a bit loud here. When you are in such a context, you rather not want to retrace too much, because if you enter into the liquidity zone here, the gap where there is basically no volume, well, you just expose yourself to a path down. So I'm looking for a corrective count on the lower time frame from my local high, and I can read it like this. I have a leg down, I have a contraction, I know it can be a wave B. I'm looking basically at the 1-1 extension, so starting to enter along here, giving it a bit of room. But even on the last leg here, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, something along this line. I think you even have 1 minute divergence between the 3 and the 5th. Technically a very nice, very nice corrective structure on the 1 minute that allow me to position into a nice long here, targeting the high at least, and keeping the rest for continuation, because we were into strength. So how was that? It was still possible, it was still possible at that time here that we were going to print a lower high, especially as long as we didn't breach this. We could have still been in a 1 and 2 if we started to indeed come lower here. That will have been a very decent case, so I was still in a bit of short at that point, but get out, stopped out pretty quickly. Oh, and yeah, you know, also when looking at this kind of stuff, looking at liquidity, so inside the consolidation, usually you have initially what we call basically a preliminary supply or consolidation before you kind of print some kind of top, right? So you print some higher lows here where some people will FOMO into the high, and as things keep the trend or just trail the stop losses, so you know there is liquidity while below this, of course, and down to below this. So I was open for a sweep of this as well. But basically looking at these lows to see where that was the one here where you can have a reaction. So yeah, I basically that's the last long I took before the big bump. All I would like to catch a short on that. You know, it was a level that I've been on watch for quite some time. But while the pump was happening, I was just trying to find a source for the news stuff, for the ETF news. And I was just seeing everybody reposting the same thing without any source. I was trying to find on the SEC website, and while I'm doing that, we retraced everything. So didn't manage to catch a short on that, just a few take profit basically. I think I took one short on the drawdown, on the consolidation, the drawdown here, little one. Another interesting trade, you know, things gets crazy. It's just at that point it just become nonsense to try to count this because there is no count to be have, right? Should we have a retracement and another high and some kind of diminishing volume and divergence? Well, I can say, okay, we have a 3-5 something finishing. I had some idea that was working on, but here you have just that you don't have any kind of clean finish here, right? But at that point, what you have is something that Bitcoin loves to do as well. Big pump, it just takes the base of the crazy pump. You could have retraced also here, but basically it took liquidity, starting to see reaction. I get back into long at that point, basically. And then I let stuff retrace a bit up. Yeah, I took a small short here as well, 382. Again, I have no real idea of what was mid-time frame count at that point, but yeah, liquidity grabbed down. Obviously, the drop is so hard that you know that you're gonna have some kind of bounce, because you can see that people are open interest starting to rise again. People are shouting after so much drop, so yeah, you're gonna rise. And here we reach a nice confluence of a 1-1 extension and 3 to retrace from the top. 1-1 extension here, 3 to retrace of the move down. I took back a small short here, position a bit more neutral at that point. And now I think we can continue to go higher. This I am not sure. There we go. Thankfully I took profit here before the target. You know, never sure of anything, but the thing here is you don't have a good invalidation for a short. So my process is like, well, if people are bearish and want to get into a swinging short, they don't really have any sensible invalidation. And if you take the low here, you are basically at 10%, so you can liquidate by just sweeping the high. You could liquidate any short with leverage at 6 or higher from the low, right? It produces liquidity. That's why I think we might go higher again. And also because this kind of move, well, it can reverse immediately, but usually that's still the characteristic of a third wave in some sense, right? That's a big part of the move where there's the biggest volume and where everybody joins the party, right? Now, ours, this one is pretty spectacular, to say the least. And I mean, as you have such a big week and so much liquidation, you don't have to take the high here, at least not on derivative. Again, the same thing than during the move down here. Derivative went much higher than spot, and spot didn't take that high. So that's the moment where things are stabilized again, and we have to approach this in Elliott manner. We'll be looking for a truncation here, basically, on derivative, and maybe a higher high on spot. Move down here was a 1, 2, big 3, 4, and 5, basically. I would agree, please. Right, and if I recall correctly, look at spot. Yeah, spot did finish the move more properly here. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the 5th made a roll. So it's a truncation on derivative. That's the kind of thing I will appreciate to see. Now, I think that's so crazy. It's not easy to make a sensible plan here. But basically, yeah, that's what I would be looking at. Now, in terms of order recount, you might remember where I was standing. Basically, I was looking at an ABC with B potentially in, and I was about to get very confident about it. It has always been a possibility that we go to the liquidity at 30,200, right? As long as we don't break above 32k, whatever happened here might still be a lower high, and we might still go down into a C wave. Or 3 for that matter, if things turn a lot more bearish. I know sentiment right now is rather bullish. So it seems crazy to talk for new lows, but to talk for a third wave, which would imply to go below 15k. But I think there is so much bullishness here that, just a break of that floor should hit badly a lot of people and should flip sentiment heavily. Again, I don't know if it's gonna happen. Maybe indeed the crowd is right to be so much bullish right now. And maybe we do front run the sensible level below us. We front run the halving run, we front run the actual ETF news. Or maybe the ETF news gonna really come this week. Who knows that? I don't know. I don't have the answer, right? At the moment, I'm really a lot more neutral. It's not that easy to have nice short here at the moment, so I'm still sitting in that one. If we sweep the high, maybe I will take another one. Try to see if I can read some kind of complete correction from where I can count something, which is the low of the retrace here. And at that point, as I can expect a truncation, ideally I'm looking for some kind of impulsive move, but you know, I'm not gonna focus too much on that. I can focus on the lower time frame counts here, give me a short, give me a higher low long. And so if we go up from here, I'll see if I can find some kind of completion here, but make sense of or what's going to happen is kind of secondary at that point. I can take my fib extension, project, 1-1 extension, for example, which is going to be just above liquidity of this little 3-minute, 1-minute order block here. The almost only bounce we got on the way down. So, you know, that's the only kind of market structure invalidation that one can get for short maybe here. So, you know, if we sweep that, it could be good. Otherwise, where is my retracement here? It. You know, otherwise, golden pocket basically. Always interesting. So of course, with this kind of move, we're not gonna have the same golden pocket on every pairs and exchanges. Still using Bybit. Might want to look at Binance maybe. But it's rather to have an idea of the level. You know, you have a bit of a candle close here. So somewhere to be attentive and maybe look for overbought condition, low time frame, reversal, etc., rather than look for the precise level. Anyway, it's kind of why it's a golden pocket. 1-1 extension and 161.8. It's where I'd be potentially interesting to be a seller and where I will be unloading also other long. And so with such condition, I just use the scale option on Tell Street and spread take profit all the way here, all the way to the high, in fact. So I don't know, I'm just scaling out and maybe I will scale in a bit in shorts, but not blindly here. I want to see. Sorry, again, shifting chart back and forth. But so yeah, the bearish, mid-bearish count is still very much valid and will remain as long as we don't reach a 32k. Even there, we might look at some alternative, but yeah, at this point, that the sensible invalidation for a bearish call below 24k. The invalidation is, or currently top. Now, bullish count, I mean, still valid as well, of course. More than ever, in fact. Now, we didn't quite reach target for a third here. And when I'm looking at this time frame, again, I'm not diving too much on the correctness of the lower time frame, but yeah, this might be a 3, right? So I assume we have a 1, 2 somewhere here. Which one you take doesn't really matter. Now, if we print a higher high here, retrace, so, well, we still have a valid. Well, this can't remain valid, right? Basically. And we'll look at the 1618 target for the third, and we might go in a retrace for the 4 and go again for the 5th of the bigger degree third, where we have targets basically at a higher high, which can produce a bit of drawdown and another move, and then we can enter potentially into a higher degree structure, right? In the sense that to get that will be in a 1 and a 2, and we can maybe retest some kind of liquidity. That's forecasting into a known for now, so characteristic of that Swift you will see, but could be as deep as retesting a high volume node or POC, could be very shallow. It depends on a lot of things. If things were to explode here, if we were to have a real ETF approval and things go as much crazy, and we start to see a 10,000 gold candle on the weekly, well, you know, we may have to add another extension, basically, saying that this third is not finished. And the madness we did here will be like some kind of 1-2, and we enter into a lot higher. You know that potentially the highest target here for that wave 3 degree, well, will be around 8K here. And 40K. And that's where things are complicated right now. We have a Monday range that is so much wide. We have an invalidation for that count now that is Friday low or last week low. Because anything that we trace here, as long as it print a higher low, in theory that's still good. And in fact, I could even add a new count, which is gonna be an expanded flat, expanded diagonal, sorry. As each of the move here have been bigger from the precedent, we have a valid 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that brings you a new, potentially a new wildcard, where we could come back, break this market structure, and have this as a 1-2. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. So, you know, at least we know where we have bearish invalidation, which is a high. And I will say, considering the price action, considering, you know, all the level, 200 moving average, etc., I'm not necessarily putting my money into that expanding diagonal ID, because it will mean, while coming back into territory where bear have more control, I'm more inclined to be holding long as the the low of the pullback here holds. It's kind of difficult to show it clearly because I have to shift to the 1 minute, but you get it, right? As long as this hold, well, we still have the bullish market structure, we're still holding this area, we have, you know, as long as we hold the daily 200 on the daily time frame, I hope as long as we hold this level, we hold the POC of the range here. Or we can say bullseye in control still. If I start to see that we lose this, well, we'll see. I will keep in mind a potential correction, retest inside the range, something tricky, but for me, this is a key level now. If we come back below this, a lot more inclined to think this has been a bull trap and we retrace everything. Okay, I see no question. Hello to the 118. Hello. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What else did we have? Yeah, we had the off chart. One eye doesn't tell me much. Well, you know, that was the idea, to be potentially looking for a reversal here, which is retested the trend line, hold it to bit of liquidity. So we had a valid backup at the edge of the creek, and so yeah, here potentially that was a bearish retest that fell. Okay. But this has a UTAD. What does it tell me? I'll share a new trend line here. Doesn't tell me a lot. Now the problem when you get this kind of price action is TA is technical analysis. It's based on technical stuff, but this move is based on market manipulation. Let's call it how it is. Well, how it probably is, at least on fake news. Intentional or not, more tempted to think it's intentional. I mean, we saw the buying movement coming up before the news break out, right? Spot buyers starting to, well, absorb during the weekend and get aggressive on Sunday evening and Monday morning. And so clearly somebody was positioned for that event. Pretty clear to me. But in that case, you have, you know, big players eating each other. So we try to read what the big players are doing to be positioned on the same side. But here, some big players got hit pretty hard, I believe. So now we don't know. Yeah. What else do we have? Interesting fact that we still hold kind of open interest trend, still holding higher lows here. Now building back open interest. No, that same thing here. You have a bunch of shorts that are still not liquidated. Even more if you take from the low. So that can produce a big move, but there's also as much long exposed still. Gonna keep an eye on that. Yeah, open interest trend line here. We did a move a bit above, not so much. You know, if I see a spike while we are printing a lower high here, or we had a high, it's gonna be extra confluence. I see a bit of FOMO too, maybe starting to. Now, yeah, not so much spot selling anymore. And you know, spot, that's an interesting thing. So, you know, spot selling indicating, yeah, selling pressure here, we go down, and then, you know, that's really the moment where things start to shift, because spot is still selling, but we start to really have a upward market structure. So that was the moment you can say, okay, now the spot div start to make a lot more sense, because you have spot div all the time here on the way down as spot is driving down price, but they just fail because you don't have a market structure change here. Here you had it, and it's really, yeah, around 6 p.m. that the one that I've been absorbing here decided to, yeah, I'm gonna just push price up now. And so even if there was aggressive long here that were buying into the top, they were buying resistance, was absorption visible on the CVD. In fact, you can see the small spike as you go to the highs. At that point, it's just aggressive buyers that decided to, yeah, force seller to exit, and I help with a bit of a fake news for the final move. Now it's back to neutral. So we didn't saw a sell-off. We didn't saw a big short building into that. We're just seeing long exiting. And now we are position starting to build again. So we have to see how this follow. Yes, see you at 20k, guys. 20k. There are people in the 20k band. Yeah, I mean, I think I would like it. Yeah, I was playing with Photoshop earlier. Because, you know, I have a bit of time on Twitter where I say there's so much people saying the same thing here. Especially, well, at least now you know without a doubt that if the spot Bitcoin ETF is approved, the price will become crazy, and like so much big accounts saying the same thing. And Larry Fink, BlackRock CEO, going on TV talking good about crypto and Bitcoin. And yeah, everybody is, well, not everybody is very bullish, but it seems that the dominant narrative on the crypto X Twitter is still razzbaiting here. And from my point of view, what can I take from this event? I don't take anything from this. That is not telling me that if a Bitcoin ETF is approved, we're gonna have 10 times this move. Because as this move is manipulation, well, it can be as much manipulation for a quick trade here as that it could be manipulation for sentiment manipulation. Yeah. Basically what I wanted to say, that's it. It doesn't mean it's not gonna happen, but yeah. For now, when I'm looking at the ETF we have right now, I don't see much volume. And that we're open. Yeah, we didn't break out. There is some movement, I think, maybe on Coinbase stock. Not even that much. I mean, I don't see that institutional greediness to buy Bitcoin as quick as possible right now, because tomorrow is the halving in the spot ETF. I don't see that rush here, locally at least. I can see volume and sign of reaccumulation on that zone overall, and interest on that zone overall, but especially on Coinbase, but not since July. There is Coinbase trading at a slight premium still, but not the big stocks that, yeah, news. And GBTC, by the way, GBTC is closing its NAV right now. It's at how much? Yeah, 12% below its NAV value. But once it's reached its NAV value, I mean, that's potentially supply, you know, because at that point, well, we'll be able to sell some Bitcoin they have on the trust to keep the value, which they can't right now. So, you know, potentially a spot Bitcoin ETF for Grayscale could open the door to the Grayscale supply they have to be returned to the market. Okay. Yeah. What else we can look at? I think that's it. I already said that at the same time. Yeah, well, we'll see tomorrow and end of week where we are. What did we do? Did we stay into the range? Do we close the week at the high or into new highs? Do we start to come back below this? So especially, I'm gonna keep an eye on that 200 daily moving average or daily close. Start to see the day close below this at the low of the range at the end of the day. That smells fishy. As long as we hold this and we don't close the day below it, okay, I remain positioned decently onto the long. Now, you know, if we in trade day, if we sweep one of these low here, well, that should be moved now here. You know, that's potentially a long. It's inside the trading day. And we didn't close the day prior to it. So yeah, here we go, guys. Hope you appreciate that stream. Give you some kind of insight, or at least you know how I'm feeling about it. And we'll see you very soon. again. Thanks again. I see you leave liked again already. So I appreciate that. Take care and see you soon.